Hi everybody, welcome to the garage. The court of public opinion is in session for another day. Thank you for your company. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. Pete, you've got this wonderful new video to show us. When are you going to do it?
Well, I haven't got it yet.
Oh, okay.
You mean the Johnny Mack one?
Yeah.
Yes, no, they haven't sent it to me yet. But,
well, as soon as you get it, it's Johnny Mack, who is 92?
He turns 92 next month.
92. He's on a horse and he is singing one of Peter Clayton's songs beautifully. And gee, if that ain't a news story, I don't know what is. Golly, did he have any trouble with the horse?
No.
No. Johnny Mack. And he's an internationally successful Australian singer. And he's never retired, he's still at it, God bless him. Channel 7, bless their cotton socks, came up to the garage today. We're recording Tuesday and Wednesday's show in the garage here Monday afternoon. And they ran this on Monday night, Channel 7 News. And they just wanted an opinion. I guess they were getting opinions from different people. Apparently the Premier, Peter Malinauskas, said something about Sydney and the gather round. Sydney or New South Wales wants the gather round football event. And Peter, defending his state, he said if it goes to New South Wales, they'll turn it into dog shit. Well, various people apparently are in high dudgeon about that. Peter Malinauskas has a very keen political antenna, and he would have read the room very carefully, and I can't imagine why people have... Look, politicians are no longer as well elocuted as they were. They speak the language of the streets and the people. It's all about communication. That's basically what I said anyway. I can't see why the opposition is making such a thing of it, because there are so many other things they could be attacking the government over. I mean, dog shit's not a hanging offence. It's part of everyday life if you have a dog. Anyway, Wednesday last week, apparently the coldest day since 1908. Wow, here in Adelaide. Global warming. It's amazing, isn't it? I've heard of a captive audience, but this is ridiculous. A newspaper for prisoners. Yes, Australia's first national prison newspaper. The lines that you could think of. It's called appropriately About Time. Well, it is about time, isn't it? Time served and time sentenced and all that sort of stuff. It's coming out this month. It is interesting. I mean, who would advertise? And what would the advertisements be for? And what would the stories be about? It's all pregnant with possibilities, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to try and get the guys who are behind it on the show on Friday around the dining room table. There are 1,000 questions about the first newspaper for prisons. Well, it would have to be a monopoly situation. Probably there'd be a subsidy in there as well, I would think, you know. Pete, did you hear about the guy who invented the voicemail?
No.
He died.
Did he?
Yeah, he died. And you can press 1 for sympathy, 2 for we'll miss you, 3 for you're a genius. No, seriously, we hate that push 1, push 2, push 3 thing. In fact, Pete and I, didn't we? We put together... We had an idea and tried to put together a company called Speak to a Person, because we figured, like we were tired of all that stuff, that there'd be millions of people who would choose to speak to a person. I want to talk to a person. We didn't get anywhere with it, but you know, I've never been able to understand sensible companies, organisations, corporations failing to get it. And what are they doing? How much money are they saving? How much money are they losing? How many people are they annoying? Anyway.
Well, I would think there's a huge marketing advantage.
It would be, this is what we figured. A huge marketing advantage. We are the people who will speak to you. We will have real live people at our switchboard who will talk to you and direct you and help you and console you. Don't understand. How can people so comprehensively, universally lose their way? It's bizarre. The death of the floppy disk. Now, not being a computer person, I mean, it's not earth-shattering to me, but for many, the earth, well, 40 years ago, it was an earth-shattering invention. The floppy disk, still in use, but Japan has announced the end of the floppy disk. So we can put that along with, help me Pete, the fax machine?
Yes, yeah. Telex,
the machine. Cassette?
Yeah, cassettes. Vinyl's made a comeback, of course.
Yeah.
CDs are looking a bit dodgy.
Yeah. Portable CD players, VHS, and of course Betamax. Never went anywhere. The pager. Does anyone have a pager anymore?
No, I doubt it.
No, I guess not.
You have a phone.
Yeah, the world moves on, but Japan has announced the end of the floppy disk. Now, if you and I, Pete, can sit down and figure out a future use for floppy disks, we could make a lot of money. There'll be a lot of them flopping around. Adelaide University have been studying the ins and the outs of the cashless debit card. You might be interested to know. It was introduced by Scott Morrison and scrapped by the Albanese government. Now, since its removal, a remarkable increase in domestic violence, lawlessness, and drunkenness. Nice one, Albo. Who put you in a corner and got you to do that? Tangible evidence here that the cashless card actually worked, did good. What are you going to do with that information now? And while we're on the subject, Alice Springs is in turmoil again. I remember a few months ago we had at the dining room table the mayor of Alice Springs on the show talking about the curfew and what it was like trying to, live in Alice Springs. Well, it's back up and running. Calls today to reintroduce the curfew, which was imposed out of desperation a few months ago. Now, just in the last 48 hours, 4 off-duty police officers, 2 women in fact, as well as 2 men, were set upon by a gang of 20 kids. That, I think, was on Sunday night. And these kids are back roaming the streets all night. Kids as young as 10 from the town camps, which are petri dishes for violence. They are literally, these kids, terrorising the town. And I would imagine their parents and their community. I wouldn't hesitate to reinstate the curfew and make it permanent. You've got to do it. It was, I think, from memory, 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. for everyone under the age of 18 unless he or she had a good reason to be there. Sensible. Who would object? And just by the by, something a little different. I heard Bill Shorten in Parliament the other day promoting the government tax cuts, as you would expect. They all do that. I guess they get a briefing in the morning, and when they're told about the Dorothy Dixes, it's all about how to pump up the government, which is, they all do it. They all do it. He was talking about, this is the bit that caught my eye, or ear, he was talking about the 400,000 NDIS workers who, from this week, or last week actually, will be getting a tax cut. Yippee! Wonderful! Terrific! But 400,000 NDIS workers? Can you get your mind around that? So out of touch is this man, is that he isn't concerned that 400,000 people work for this disgraceful rot. Oh, and on Sunday, a bill announced that sex workers will no longer feature in the array of services available on the NDIS. No embarrassment, no apology. What did it take, Bill? What is it, 2 years since people started complaining about that? I've got no problem with people who want a sex worker. Anybody. But don't send the bill to the taxpayer. Or maybe if you want to cut to the chase, send it to Bill. Now this is something I really want to talk to you about, and I hope I don't run out of time. I've often said to you, on various stories that we've covered here and at the dining room table on a Friday, jeremycordeaux.com live streaming, I've often said to you, where is the media? Are they asleep? Or part of some sort of cover-up? Jump in, ask a question. Why? How is this so? Well, lots of stuff over the weekend on what is developing into a political scandal in the United States of America. It's now obvious that the media, and particularly the White House press corps, has been running a protection racket for Joe Biden, President Biden. Never a word about his obvious cognitive decline. It's this simple. They must have known. Who's been running the country for the last 3.5 years? And here's something else. When you count up the number of press conferences Biden has done compared to the last 5 presidents, it's there for everyone to see. He's been shielded. And the media have known this. Never did a story. Part of the cover-up. You can understand White House staff covering for the president. But for the media to go along with this for so long is a disgrace. And we're talking about big names. We're talking about the stars of network television, big name journalists, prime time shows on radio and television. The people who are trusted, what can I say, to tell us what we need to know. Yes. Tell us what we need to know. I would love to know, how do you silence so many people? They couldn't all be lefties covering for their mates. Now, of course, it's out, can't be ignored. The story's front page. But it really should be the story, the headline, the lead story. The president is incompetent. I know he will defend himself. I would expect nothing less. he would be in denial, because these things, I think, creep up on you in older age, and you don't know it's happening. But there are other people whose responsibility it is to tell him. I know the media covered up for John Kennedy and his infidelities, and other presidents who got up to mischief, but nothing that influenced or got in the way of running the country. But perhaps an even bigger problem is that the cognitive decline of Sleepy Joe is the whole story. Instead of what the Democrats stand for, what they've accomplished, what is their platform, what is in the offing for the next 4 years. Now, we had, I must tell you, it's a story slightly against my old beloved radio station 5DN, but we had a taste of this kind of thing here in Adelaide. At 5DN, the media knew, and we knew about Premier Don Dunstan and never questioned him on his behaviour. And what can I call it? His lifestyle, I suppose. Lifestyle. And his associates. It was a shameful moment for us, really. Two great journalists at 5DN at the time, Des Ryan and Mike McEwen, would stand up at media conferences and ask very pointed and embarrassing questions of the Premier, which is their job. They were doing their job. Sir, what is your relationship with known heroin dealer John Cerruto? We understand he now works in the Premier's department. Why, sir, did you hire John Cerruto? What does he do? And the Premier would turn red, Don Dunstan, and explode. He wasn't used to this. These questions, he said, are grossly improper. He would never answer the questions. Couldn't really. Now, we were the only newsroom asking these questions, and that was to our enormous credit. But Dunstan told the owners of the radio station, the Fairfaxes in Sydney, or Macquarie in Sydney, to stop these questions and to fire the journalists. Des Ryan and Mike McEwen. They were ordered by Sydney to shut up. They quite correctly refused and were fired, which of course was disgraceful. They went on to write the book that they got the title of from the Premier. It was called Grossly Improper, which ultimately brought down the Dunstan government. We should have done what Catherine Graham did when Richard Nixon told the Washington Post to fire Bernstein and Woodward over the Watergate stories. She didn't. She published and be damned. And the rest, and several Pulitzer Prizes later, is history. You see, the media is not there to be intimidated by authority or to run a protection racket for anyone. Or more importantly, we have to realise that the government can't treat the media as an outlet or a loudspeaker for never-ending publicity releases. Joe Bjelke-Petersen used to call it, what did he call it? Feeding the chooks. Feeding the chooks. He'd go out there in the morning and feed the chooks. The media, pardon me, has got to develop a spine. Don't take media releases just for content. It's easy, I know. People are understaffed. I saw Channel 9 were sacking more people around Australia today. It's a mess. It truly is a mess. But you are there. We are there to ask the questions. Sometimes the tough questions. And most importantly, get the answers and get the truth. I know we're way over time. We've got time for a few dates. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. If I can find my glasses. I'm training myself to bring my glasses. I can talk without them, but I can't read. July 9, happy birthday, happy wedding anniversary. The Commonwealth of Australia is established. Oh my God. Happy birthday to the Commonwealth of Australia, established by the British House of Commons on this day in 1900. Happy birthday. I haven't seen a thing about that. The engagement of Britain's Princess Elizabeth and Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, 1947, on this day. Tom Hanks, the American actor. Saving Private Ryan, Forrest Gump, God, he's a good actor. What was the one he did with the aeroplane? And the guy who landed the plane on the Hudson River?
Oh, yeah. Was it Captain? No.
Yeah.
No, that was
Don't know what it was called, but that was a great movie. I loved that. But Tom Hanks, he was born in California on this day in 1956. The first ever Wimbledon tennis championship begins. First official lawn tennis tournament, men's singles only, I might tell you. That was this day in 1877. SS Reichsführer Heinrich Himmler takes command of German concentration camps on this day in 1934. That could have been a hell of a job, wouldn't it? He probably jumped at it. Don't know. Rod Steiger, the American actor, the illustrated man, pawnbroker, dies of pneumonia at 77. 2002 was the year. This was the day. Harold Fox, the American fashion designer, the zoot suit. What the hell is a zoot suit, Pete? Do you know?
no idea. No.
The zoot suit. He was a big band trumpeter as well. He was born in Chicago. He died in 96, but born this day in 1910. Bill Haley and his Comets, Rock Around the Clock, tops the Billboard charts. One of the best-selling singles ever on this day in 1955. Henry Kissinger visits the People's Republic of China to begin détente between US and China, 1971. King C. Gillette. The C stood for Camp. King Camp Gillette, American businessman and inventor of inexpensive and disposable safety razor blades, dies at 77. How would people have, before the safety razor, what did people use?
Well, a cutthroat razor.
Cutthroat razor?
Yeah. Just the blade.
Oh yeah, okay. Never done that. 1932. 1932. He dies on this day in 1932 at 77. Oh, I might just tell you, throw this in. Bright pink is the world's oldest biological colour, according to scientists. They made that announcement on this day in 2018. How they worked that out, I don't know. Barbara Cartland, I talked to her once. Barbara Cartland, English romance and author. Romance author, really. She died in 2002, but born 1901. And Barbara Woodhouse, Irish-born British dog trainer and television personality, dies at 78. She had a stroke on this day in 1988. I spoke to her as well, many times. I loved her. Visited Australia all the time. She loved Australia. Walkies! We got to go. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Believe in yourself. Peter Clayton and I will be back. Bye for now.